Oh, we are live.
OMG.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, howdy. Oh, man. Of course, chat's not up.
Is it recording?
Oh, we're recording too, yeah. Doing things a little different.
I mean, yeah.
See if we can't sync this processor. Probably should let the boost go, man. See where we're pinning the processor at. Only 14% CPU. Let's unleash the beast. Oh, now he's rolling.
Unbeast the leash.
Very nice. We got so much to talk about tonight. Woo! You excited? Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Some cool stuff.
Very cool.
Some excellent.
Oh, it is. It is for Thursday, the 17th of February.
Stuff to be excited about, yeah.
Getting ready. 5, 4, 3. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Mike and Corey back with you. Not your average show. Hello.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Doing good. Just had a snack. I'm good to go, man. Yeah.
We're not even going to talk about your snack.
Yeah, good.
Anyhow, we we got so much to talk to you about. By the way, first off, if you guys are new to the show, which we're getting a lot of new subs, thanks for chiming in on the Trevor Jacob whole thing there. Getting lots of good, we're getting good and bad comments, but that's the way it goes. Yep. It's the internet, right? But today's episode, we got That's No Moon, It's Starship, Polaris, which is a Starship's next potential usage. We have the Intel Arc GPUs, some interesting stuff there, and Virgin Galactic to space or bust. They have announced their pricing structure. $450K is going to get you to space. Well, maybe not.
Well,
maybe not.
Well,
maybe not. How are you, man, for this Thursday?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Yeah, excited to explain and share this info because there's some cool stuff. We tend to talk about the gold Elon a bit, but there's some cool stuff we'll share.
Today was Mini-Me's birthday. Yeah, Mini-Me's birthday's today, so we celebrated. He enjoyed. He got lots of stuff, so he's off in the bed now. It was a nice birthday.
Awesome.
So that's a good way to go for an evening of fun. And I don't know what else is going on. It's just been a busy, kind of week. It just feels busy. So I'm happy Friday's here, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Always.
So as always, we forgot to discuss the order before the show. Because who needs order, right? Sure. Exactly. So wait, who's doing what first? What do you want to do first here?
Well, I know that I'm doing the two together articles, so I guess it's. Do you want to go space or?
I don't care. You totally your call. I leave it up to you.
Let's go to the other places first, and then come back and round out.
All right, then I am going to start with Intel. Then how's that?
Yeah,
okay,
that works.
Perfect. Yeah, all right, here we go. Let me just get a couple things configured, and off we go into the wonderful world of The Verge. So actually, this one does come to us from The Verge. Corey's the one that found this one. It's kind of interesting though. It is. Intel's first discrete Arc desktop GPUs are coming in Q2 2022. And this is kind of unique for Intel because they've got a couple of different projects lined up for this whole and entire series of Arc GPUs. And they're going up against the big boys, or at least that's ultimately where they want to end up, right? So basically, it's Intel Arc. It's a nice addition to their lineup. Basically, they're saying that they're going to go with a Q1 launch of notebook, which I think we're kind of off on that one, a Q2 launch of desktop, and Q3 is basically of workstation. And the way this is looking right now is they're trying to get these things to go and dovetail into another project, which they're calling basically Project Endgame, which also allows these processors to rent cloud GPUs out in the middle of nowhere. Using, I guess, Intel's chip structure throughout to actually dump in some stuff a little bit faster with these Arc processors. Tell me a little bit more about what you know about them.
Obviously, looking at some of the stuff, towards the end of third quarter, as you talked about, as they're bringing some workstation
Mm-hmm.
graphic cards, it's they do go on to talk about how they're talking about like distributed, or let's call it like using the cloud to do the heavy lifting for, let's say, and it even actually says in here too with GPUs, like really going after, as it would be, NVIDIA's flagship GPUs, even like 3000, 3090 Ti's
Right.
and stuff. Currently top of the line now. We do know that NVIDIA's already got their 4000 series cards slated to come out too. So, there's that. But as people have kind of had an issue getting their hands on the cutting edge silicon with shortages and all that, this kind of is not really a surprise, but maybe a smart move on Intel's part to try to corner a bit more of the market on people that would like to use that, have that kind of horsepower, but are having issues either, purchasing the hardware itself. That old model, we'll just buy a new part and upgrade. Well, with this distributed cloud processing, cloud computing going on with other things like NVIDIA GeForce Now and shadow gaming, and there's a whole bunch of other ones. Intel's gonna go in there too.
Right.
So I'm interested to see how it works on Intel's end, but also what kind of latency they're expecting to get from the servers, to a, let's call it a standard high-speed internet.
Well,
user
and that's
end,
that's the crux of it, right? And I guess so. Here's their roadmap, basically coming directly from the articles, that they have the basic one is going to be the Alchemist, the next one's going to be the Battle Mage, next one's Celestial, and then the next one is Druid, right? Now they don't really say right now if they're going to go after the gaming market complete. And they're not even saying that they're going after high-end workstation. It is assumed at this point, right? They don't know really what the direction this is all going to take. But you're right about one thing, right? This whole off-system rendering profile, a lot of people are hot for, right? Especially in the chip shortages. But now here's my big question, right? Yep. Intel has the muscle to move into these marketplaces, and NVIDIA has been pretty much beating them up for a while now, right? As well as other manufacturers. And for them to finally see that there's enough, I guess, overhead in the marketplace for them to charge into the high-end GPU marketplace, they've got to see something that we don't see as far as there's still profit. Now, if that profit's going to be generated from, like you said, the lack of the fact that there's other chip makers out there that can keep things on shelves, and they've got an inroad where they can streamline their process, or this selling off cloud, I don't know what it is, but it's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, we know that like AMD is always, well, Intel and AMD, if let's just say you're the person who is out there looking to build your own workstation that's good for rendering or computing or number crunching, but also, let's say, high-end gaming too, you would be hard-pressed to find somebody that would be, and there's certainly some Intel diehards out there, and and there's various reasons to say one way or the other, but lately, I'd say in the last year, there's been some excellent AMD setups that come in a better price point and lower wattage usage and better output on an AMD chip than Intel's current chips or past chips, just the last generation. So it's I will say I've always had Intel
as well,
mostly because I've had better luck with the compatibility of NVIDIA cards with Intel chipsets.
Same here.
Just compatibility drivers and whatnot. Just seems like I had better luck that way than going with an AMD card and then an Intel chip. But anyway, it is what it is. So but I mean, we've talked about maybe trying out some of these shadow gaming or shadow computing, well, specifically the gaming sector ones before, and we can maybe talk about that too. But
so look, I mean, I've tried the Xbox. I've tried the Xbox Cloud service on my iPad M1 Pro, and I've tried it on my laptop. Yep. And it still really suffers. You need a low latency connection. You need it to be a cable connection, right? But even beyond that, right? Look at the big players in the silicon market now. And I did mention Apple with their M1 processors, which are basically becoming the end game for mobile processing, and in some cases almost desktop processing if you're looking for high-end workstation stuff, right? These things are built and streamlined. And I'm just wondering if hypothetically Intel needs to really get themselves to the place where they are going to make a core architecture chip. So they're going to take some of what they're going to make from this generation of these GPUs and some of what they've already learned from the long history of CPUs that they've made, and start coming up with a more firm architecture to go up to, say, something head-to-head like Apple, right? And hence, in the process, if they can embed a cloud-based rendering service into the chipset, well, then they're going to corner the off-rendered gaming market as well, right? There's a little bit there because I know Apple's hot to hit that marketplace too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the nature of the thing, the way things are going with the upgrades and internet speeds, and like we said, some shortages. People are just more interested in this than maybe the typical gamer, let's call them, has.
Yeah,
in the past
I agree.
So.
Yeah, so let's see if they can do it, right? Now, are they going to be immune to the chip shortages? Are they going to be, are they going to be able to bring this to market and actually hit the marketplace, right? There's right, like everybody else like me that's waiting on, probably a new NVIDIA card for way too long. And I don't feel like paying the massive price structures that they've got in place right now to be a quote unquote early adopter when you're not an early adopter anymore. You're late to the buy-in and you're almost going to skip a generation by the time this whole series comes around, So
it's funny you say that. Just before we started the go button here, I was curious and I just went off and said, I've still got a 1000 series graphics card in my machine. The 4000 series cards are coming out, and I'm going, like, I want to upgrade, but it just, I can't get my hands on one for a good price, and then now nothing's coming out. So I'm like, but I am interested to keep track of this, especially the third generation. They call them the celestial GPUs, to really see what comes of that, because I am interested in
yeah, so am I. And look, I got lucky. I got a 2080 Super just before literally the chip crunch hit full stream, right? And I remember saying to you, I was like, well, I'm only gonna have it for a couple of months because now that I hear the 3090s are coming out or 3080s, I'm gonna get one of those. Yep. Never happened. So likely I will skip this generation anyhow. So let's see what happens. Hey folks, let us know what you think about Intel making the jump into high-end GPUs and if they could be successful in this marketplace. And what would be your expectations if you're a big Intel fan out there, or maybe if you're all for AMD or NVIDIA. Let us know what you think is going to happen with this this foray for Intel, because we hope they're successful. We hope they're competitive. But then again, who knows, right?
Yep.
Let's see. Wait.
So go
ahead. You can take that one.
Yeah. Brad says, won't the internet speed be the controlling factor and not the chipset? So if we're talking purely about the cloud streaming service, off-site, then yes, certainly. I mean, there's really no way. It's like when we talk about computers, we talk about bottlenecks, and whatever the most bottlenecked part of your CPU is, or your rig is, that's going to be the determining factor what kind of performance you get, and that's totally true. If your RAM's really slow, then you can only go as fast as your RAM. In this case, if you are using their streaming service to offload your GPU, in that case, then yeah, if your internet's slow, then that's what it's going to be. You're not going to have the ping or the let's call it the latency on certain games to do what you want to do. They're saying these are discrete GPUs as well. So it would come to think that they're going to build a card around these, so they might not just be the cloud computing. It might just be its own thing. Especially if you look down at the roadmap, there's there's four down there technically, but the third one, they call it the Celestial. That's the one they call, quote, a product that will address the ultra enthusiast segment. So and that really, ultra enthusiast, if you talk about gaming, that's again hitting top flagships, the TI cards.
Is it though?
From NVIDIA.
See, but that's the thing, because the ultimate enthusiast, because
I mean, it might be PR marketing and it's not really, but I would hope they're taking a direct shot at the top, because that would be good to have competition.
Why don't they see? But here's the thing: if they were just going to say we're going to take on the gaming market, right? Then you say we're going to take on the gaming market, but they say the ultra enthusiast segment, which is that's marketing speak for saying let's be ambiguous, right? Let's be slightly charming about our way to try to figure this thing out, right? So
I guess that I mean
you follow what I'm saying, right? I'm not trying to be.
No, yeah. I mean, somebody could say, ooh, the ultra enthusiast could mean the person who wants to build the most custom PC. Nothing to do with speed.
I mean,
maybe. I mean, I guess.
Because this is the first generation. I would say in the last 4 years is the rebirth of PC gaming in the marketplace that we know it now. Where now the consoles have literally had to step up into the the refresh rates that PCs are capable of doing. They've literally had to push into the 4K marketplace. They're into the same style rendering where they're playing catch up again to PCs, and PCs have become world-class gaming systems again. You couldn't say that 10 years ago. Okay? You couldn't say that 10 years ago. So that marketing speak is kind of like, I'm like, hey, I don't know, guys. You tell me. But
they're calling them GPUs though, not CPUs. So that's at least gives me a little bit of hope that they're like they have the right idea that they're going to aim for the
but what if what if the ultra enthusiast segment is for crypto miners? Right? Now, what if you want a crypto farm and you want to buy 80 processors out there in the cloud so you can crypto on these bad boys, and they're just basically looking to muscle in and take a cut. Why not, right? As you sigh,
the part of me that says Intel likes money and there is money to be made in crypto GPU hardware, muscle says I hate you a little bit. But maybe.
All right, folks. Like, subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments below. That one ran a little longer, but we have to include that segment because it's a good finding. Maybe they do want that cake, right? Maybe they went on that deal. So, all right. Okay, moving right along. Hold on. There we go. Where do we want to go now?
I guess, well, again, the SpaceX one's kind of linked together, so I guess you want to go to Virgin Galactic?
I guess I shall. I will go to Virgin Galactic. Okay, so this one comes to us from Morning Brew. And by the way, guys, if you have not had a chance to check out Morning Brew, they do an excellent job of delivering some great stuff to your mailbox every morning. I found them out through the Backyard Scientists. Not a plug. We're not affiliated at all, but so far, really like their content. So I couldn't recommend that any higher. If you're a fan of the show, you're probably a big fan of their content. However, free plug for Morning Brew. Hey, Virgin Galactic is offering, well, they're basically saying $450,000 a ticket to get you to space for the general public, right? And this is big news because this is how you get to go into space via the Virgin Galactic way. And their shares went up 30%. And this news came to us on the 15th. So it's relatively hot off the press, right? Now, here's the thing. The way that they're putting this out there is it's saying that you could buy your seat for $150,000 down and $300,000 later. And it gets you some benefits. We'll talk about the benefits in a minute. Corey can bring those up. However, there's one caveat, and that is you really don't become an astronaut because, as we've coined a phrase here on the show, you become a pastronaut because you actually don't make it past the Kármán line. Kármán line's recognized as 100 kilometers up, or 54 nautical miles, or 62 miles. And as you have it on a Virgin Galactic trip, you're only going to go 53.5 miles up, 10 miles short of the Kármán line. Your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. And just the extra part of that too. Remember that if we're talking FAA classification of astronauts, they have to also further the boundaries of space exploration, whether it's beyond science or technology, and certainly unless there's some other little projects that go up with you and they only have a few seconds of weightlessness, then this still doesn't count. But nevertheless, so pastronaut is definitely something that Mike and I were kind of coined just to say, hey, you're not really an astronaut anymore. The FAA like to change that rule because there's so much of this going on. But nevertheless, talking about Virgin Galactic, they also include in your deal, if you were to reserve your seat for $150,000, several days of training, always good. Nice to know what you're doing. A bespoke Under Armour spacesuit just for you, right? Those they are pretty slick looking, but those spacesuits, obviously tailor made just to you from Under Armour or made by Under Armour, and the opportunity to purchase a astronaut edition Range Rover. Hey, you're gonna have probably only one of the few of those around. If there's any more.
Astronaut edition.
And then some other, and then they I don't know if this is true, but probably some luxury onboard mix nuts. That's probably just
come on now,
author, because
come on.
But nevertheless, it is cool to know what the price of it is. We got some more space news coming up, and it'll be it would cost other people more than $500,000 to go up to near space. So nevertheless, it's not really like general public. 450,000 is a bit, right? But this is currently the price on Virgin Galactic. So yeah.
So wait a second. Now I just have to say this. if I don't go past the Kármán line, that's one thing. But let's say if I really want the title of astronaut, I have to go up there and bring like a little science experiment in my pocket, and I go, hey,
Right.
I grow. I'm being totally facetious here, right? Because here, would that really make your astronaut edition Range Rover any more plausible, right? Do they put a little plaque on it and say you went into space? But here's the problem: FAA is going to come back and say no, you didn't. Look, I love the fact that this is forwarding space tourism, right? That's great for Virgin Galactic. It obviously isn't going to generate right now the type of revenue that they're looking for to compete, say, against the SpaceX or to go up against some of these other companies that are heavily involved in commercial, rocketry and doing things actually for the forwarding of mankind. Doesn't mean that Virgin Galactic can't, and it doesn't mean that this isn't a stepping stone for them to actually bring that to fruition, because we know that they're working on it. It's a great first step. We wish them all the best in their venture. $450, is it worth it?
Of course, it depends who you ask, and if you ask somebody
I'm
who
asking
has
you.
a disposable income of $450.
No.
Oh, myself.
No, I'm asking you. Is it worth it? $450, worth it?
No. Man, I mean, how much I would love to. $450. No, I can't right now. If you would asked me a year ago, might have had a different answer. Well, things have changed. So I might want to save my money for other things rather than.
Okay, so
if you know what I mean.
Let me
enrich bigger. So
let me enrich the conversation here, then, right? Because I look at this. If I know in 10 years that goal is still plausible, and I start saving now, let's say I go out and I put some money in like one of those little fund me accounts where I turn around, throw 100 in, and I a month, and I make it max out, and they say, hey, in 17 years you're gonna have $450,000. And I go, is that worth it to me? That might be worth it to me. That could be something like it. Like if you put money in a beanstalk, then you just throw it back there and be like, hey, that's my little investment fund for me. As long as I got another $450K to retire on the backside, who cares?
No, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, so then it is valuable enough. No, yes, no.
For me, it's like, okay, if I was to do it that method and save in such a fund,
right?
What would be available to me when I had the money, right?
Okay.
Because going along with our next conversation is about a few things, SpaceX, but also underlying things about space.
Right.
We would hope, as we go forward, is that access to space becomes more available to general people, but also the price would go down, which kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Right.
So I would hope that with that hope being, in the future to be something that does come to fruition, I would say the deal would be worth it, but I would hope that at some point you wouldn't need that much money.
Okay.
And maybe you would also go on a vehicle that gives you even better experience. But I don't, those are all things to be seen. So I guess it's to say right now, if I had 450, if I dropped it, tomorrow, I probably would say I probably would still say no. That's just me though.
All right. How about this? In the comments below, everybody who's watching this one and gets a chance to tune in, let us know what you think is worth that amount of money. If you don't think $450,000 is a proper ass price to go to space, let us know that. But if you think there's something comparable that you would want more than that, like say a Lamborghini, or not to go to space, or if you think it's fair price, let us know. I'd love to hear from people out there that want to go to space for that price, right? Is that the right price for you? Now, here's the other thing, right? Look, we all know that, and I'm going to get a little controversial about this. Virgin Galactic did have a catastrophic failure just about, 4 years ago? It was 5 years ago, right? 5 years ago, I think it was, right? So, and their system has endured some pretty big changes now, so that can't happen again, right? And it just goes to speak of, which and this is going to carry over. You're going to see where this is going to go, this conversation. But when we talk about what's up against getting into space, right, and doing something that's going fast, needs escape velocity, and does these types of things, there's still danger, right? And my hope is that they've worked out all the bugs with Virgin Galactic, that they don't have any issues. But let's just say you go ahead and put your good old hard-earned cash down, and 5 years from now they have a catastrophic again, and you're like number 790 in line, and there's maybe I don't know 3,000 people that have put their hard-earned cake down for this one. I wonder what happens.
I don't know. I can only imagine what the mountain of paperwork would look like when you actually board one of these, especially these days in the early days, because Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be one of those where I'm sure you sign off all liability. Your next of kin can't sue them. You're signing off everything. I'm sure because it's space travel, and that's not a shot at Virgin Galactic. That's space travel. Like
Legit.
it's not difficult, or it's not easy. It's difficult. I've heard the people say space is hard. It is. I mean, it's
Well,
just inherently, it's like kind of in a way like aviation, right? It's not necessarily that it's risky, it's that it's so unforgiving, right?
well,
You can't, a little screw up and that's it, like complete loss.
see, space itself
Whereas
isn't.
in your car, right? Get a blow tire in your car, you pull over. Whoops. I mean, hopefully you didn't lose control, but you pull over. Okay, cool.
See, space itself isn't necessarily hard.
Yeah.
It's the impact that comes after when it's an unsuccessful attempt to get into space, right? That's the hard part. That pressure builds up catastrophically, unfortunately. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Bad joke.
Yeah.
But all right, folks. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share us with your friends if you like the conversation. Again, Virgin Galactic, all the best. It's a great price.
Totally.
I hope people take them up on it. But there's other, I'd say, worthy programs out there that, man, you might be able to hitch a ride in something else relatively soon if one man gets his way in that area. So like, subscribe, follow, let us know what you think. All right, with that, I've done my two, and I'm going to turn the reins over to one Mr. Young over here, and let's see what he gets himself up to with. You want to do the Politico one first, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So take it away, Corey.
Okay, cool. So next one comes to us from Politico. You'll see there's actually two links down there, two different websites, but the main one's from Politico. Says why Musk's biggest space gamble is freaking out competitors. Okay, so if you haven't been keeping track of what's going on in space news, a quick rundown. Elon is working on the Starship, and it's supposed to basically change how getting to low Earth orbit and then actually far away, moon, lunar orbit to Mars, all that's going to change. And so basically what's going on here is with this article here talking about that says somebody at Politico was here talking to somebody in Washington, a space lobbyist in Washington. They work for somebody in the space industry there, and they were quoted saying that a lot of the aerospace contractors and other people keeping a close eye on what Elon's been doing. They know, Elon has lofty goals. He definitely doesn't always hit the mark, but more times than not now, as it's been going through, he's had failures, right? But Starlink's working. Falcon 9's finally just flying all the time and working the way it's supposed to be working. And now he's obviously got Starship, and he just had, just Thursday, last week, he had a big presentation on it on YouTube, and it was all the updates on Starship. And the long and the short of it is, he says that a lot of these aerospace contractors are, quote, shitting the bed because it's going to change everything if it actually works at the cadence and efficiency that Musk is hoping to get it to.
Yeah.
Quick rundown, right? Elon saying possibly they can get Starship launches down to 1 million per launch.
Massive.
A quick look at SLS, let's say, one of the most comparable.
You really want to go there?
It is what it is, but comparable programs, they're saying it's about 2 billion per launch for an SLS.
Okay.
So,
but there's more to it than just that, though, right?
I'll pass it to you. Though.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
I mean, so the thing is, yeah, Elon Musk alluded to where he sees Starship going last week, and what he basically said. It's coming to Space Coast, right? It's actually going to be here by the end of this year. He anticipates that this area right here will be the primary launch facility for Starship, right? That's massive. And Boca Chica is going to be basically the R&D. That's based on the environmental studies that they have to do and get the approvals from the FAA. But it keeps going. He went on to say that they found a way to, I think they're up to 39 Raptor engines underneath this bad boy, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
that's massive. The power is going to be enormous. And he's saying a turnaround rate of about 2.5 to 3 hours. On top of that, he's saying, right?
Yeah.
I think it was 2.5.
I think it was, maybe it was an hour. Yeah, it's super short.
Super short, right? The other
turnaround for the vehicle. I think the booster's like 3 hours, or I can't remember how it is, but yeah, it's like 3 hours max for either the booster or Starship.
Something like crazy. That, right? But the other part of it is 39A right out this way is getting a refresh, so it's going to get the grappling arm, and they're building a whole new launch pad. I think 40 was part of it. Okay, so what's your thoughts about it? Even that he is now so excited about the fact that he thinks suborbital flight is going to take over here by year's end, he thinks.
Right. Yeah. So of course, any of this news about Starship is quite exciting just to keep track of. I mean,
Excuse me,
obviously,
orbital
right?
flight. I was wrong, right? He said orbital flight.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was
my
going to
bad.
say. Any of this news is exciting about Starship. Of course, any rocket news we're excited about, but particularly news that happens to end up in our neck of the woods down here in Central Florida on the East Coast, Space Coast, where NASA is quite exciting. And the fact that they're looking to build not only to continue to use the facilities they're already using, but then build a new platform, or well, a new platform, but also a new pad for Starship is, of course, super exciting because we keep a track of all the good things going on over in Boca Chica, all the positive things, of course. But we know the people that live around there in Boca Chica, some less than happy that it goes on all the time. Fair enough, right? If you get rocket launches, down the street from you that require you to leave your house, I can see how that would be kind of annoying. But nevertheless, pretty excited for the Space Coast to get this stuff. And like Mike said too, Elon is saying they're going to have orbital launches pretty soon. We're thinking that Elon's going to try to have orbital launches by, I think, just spring, few months from now, maybe summer, and having those launches occur from the subsequent launches occur from Space Coast is obviously super exciting too, to see the big boosters, the arms catching the rocket or the Starship as it comes back in. And this goes right along with the next thing we'll talk about too. But yeah, it's pretty exciting for sure.
And he's got more.
Can't say enough about it.
Right, he's got more lined up actually for here because they're going to build a complete assembly structure out here out in the Space Coast, and they've already completed their heat shielding structure. Now, he said that the reason why this was offset was basically because he didn't want to have this facility here at Kennedy, right? He didn't want this one to be basically interrupted by the R&D process of Starship. He said, so that's originally why they selected Boca Chica to do this. But he was very candid in saying, but hey, it was always pretty much in my mindset that once we have this, this perfected to a degree, we're going to Canaveral. That's where we want to be. So now the other thing is, though, he's going for what people would consider or would have considered years ago, and this speaks to the political argument, right? Actually, not the argument, but the article there, that NASA couldn't pull this off 25 years ago. They tried with steel exterior skin spacecraft, and they couldn't do it. Now, whether the technology has caught up or the investment funds that Elon's been willing to throw at this problem has been enough to overcome those early hurdles that NASA really couldn't make happen, right? Because this is basically this is the Flash Gordon rocket, right? This is the slick stainless steel looking structure. It's going out there, exoskeletons giving it all its strength. Which one do you think it is? Was NASA just not bright enough to make the jump, or just not deep enough pockets ever relinquished in their way to make that actually a successful endeavor?
What you're talking about there is kind of at the heart of why they may be, quote, having issues with what Musk is doing, is because it's NASA, which is a government organization dealing with government contractors, which has to go through all the ways that the government has to secure funds and do bids and blah, blah, blah. And then you've got a company, effectively, a private company, that just says, hey, we're going to do this with our own funds. And they go buy space, they go buy materials, and they just freaking do it. Like, it's just a different ball game. They're both trying to go to space. I guess to answer your question, I think the people at NASA could have figured it out if they had an unlimited tab. I know that Elon said, there was some issues with materials and things in the past, and a lot of that's been worked out through SpaceX. Fair, but I think the people at NASA may have been able to do that in the past. It depends on, of course, how far back we're trying to go. But the point is, you got SpaceX, private company, doing things that a government contractor, a government entity, they just operate differently, fundamentally operate differently. And that's in a way why NASA had already shifted their sights further out into space and left the low Earth orbit stuff to private entities, which is what they've been doing already. So it just so happens that now Elon's like, hey, we're also going far into space. Oh, and we're doing it within 10 years. We're going to be boots on Mars in 10 years, by the way.
Yeah, well,
so
lofty goals. But it also begs the question, right? Look at Elon, right? He's taking a lot of heat in a lot of different directions right now because he's calling out a lot of critics,
of course,
right? A lot of critics,
of course.
And when you call out your critics, they tend to amplify. It amplifies their response because they're agitated at you, right? And they have to show their agitation that you're doing something that they couldn't. You're right. He doesn't have the constraints, but he has the know-how. And the fact that he set this as a
Right.
goal is remarkable because we all could benefit from that, right? So I got to give him props. And he has got deep enough pockets to sustain the setbacks. But he's also been critical of other companies like Blue Origin who are equally trying to compete in this space, who don't have right now something on the level of Starship that can prove that they're even in the launch or test launching stage. And I think that, what is it, New Glenn, right? New Glenn's supposed to be massive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, New Glenn is the big heavy lift from Blue Origin, but they're pretty tight-lipped about New Glenn, honestly.
They are.
And New Glenn is actually being built over there too. But you don't hear the way they do their testing is not the same kind of public way that that SpaceX does. It just isn't. So yeah, that's just the way it is with Blue Origin.
But it also generates that space excitement again, right? It's really cool to see space excitement where it was such a field where, yes, the shuttle, when it was the only show in town, and there was a couple of Atlas, launches here and there, that was awesome. But this is like, you feel that cutting edge participation where you're actually excited for them to a degree to get that rocket to do what it's supposed to do, whether it's the SpaceX, Falcon, the Dragon, the Falcon Heavy, or now the Starship. So they got a complete lineup.
Yeah,
great for him. Yep. Well, you want to just bleed into the next one, or you want to put a tagline in there? Up to you.
Yeah. We could just I'll kind of just say, hey, just plug it here in the middle. If you guys like talking about space and want to keep up with our show too, please like, share, subscribe. Very much appreciated. And we're super excited to bring more content from you to you. We do live launches in person. You can be sure that if Starship gets off the ground here, which looks like it probably will,
no pun intended,
we will be very happy to go over there and eyeball it for you and get some shots. So keep track with us.
There you go.
But with that, I'm going to keep going because this next one kind of dovetails right into
the
same thing.
Keeps going. Go ahead.
So I'll go right over there to space.com. And so space.com says, the title of this article, Billionaire's Polaris program to set space records and SpaceX Dragon and Starship. So basically this one is talking about the billionaire Jared Isaacman. If you guys don't know who he is, he was involved with SpaceX's Inspiration 4 mission a bit ago. That was where those four, some civilians and just normal people, but also Jared Isaacman, the billionaire, had chartered effectively a Falcon 9 crew capsule Dragon and went up to space as the first all-civilian space flight. And they actually were astronauts. They did some research up there and went up far enough and were in orbit. They were in orbit too. So very cool thing there. They did a lot of that for St. Jude's Children's Hospital as well. There's some really good things about that mission. But nevertheless, that same guy has chartered or working with SpaceX to do up to 3 more missions.
3 more.
And they're all being called the Polaris program. So super cool. That's also still supposed to go help St. Jude Children's Hospital. But I'll talk real quick about the 3 missions, real brief, and then I'll give it to you. The first one, Polaris Dawn, and that's supposed to go fall this year. That is off of a Falcon 9 still 4 passengers. Jared Isaacman is one of them. That will also go to orbit for 5 days, but they're also supposed to do some things that will further health and technology on Earth, but also for spaceflight and an extravehicular activity. So a spacewalk as well. That's pretty cool. That's the first one. And some Starlink laser comms, laser-based Starlink communications tests. The second mission, it actually just says it continues the first mission. So I'm guessing that's also a Falcon 9 vehicle. And I would assume it's probably just next year. That'd be the guess. But the final, as we say, the capstone of this mission 3 is the first manned Starship orbital flight, and that goes right along with what we're talking about in the last article to say that he's supposed to have. Elon says they're going to have a Starship in orbit this year. Whether it goes all the way around or does that test, takes off and then lands off Hawaii. Whatever, but there's going to be a Starship probably in orbit this year. So I would imagine, again, Elon, we're talking Elon time, but I would imagine next year, or I'd say the end of next year, there'll be a manned Starship mission. Because again, he's saying he wants boots on the ground to Mars in 10 years.
So here's the thing though, right?
Yeah.
This is the best part about it. You could have the first ever commercial Starship launch with human beings on board, completely unrelegated by any government entity except for the FAA saying this is the time and date which you can launch. Right? That's massive. Right? That takes on such a like you have to sit back and just take that in for a minute and go, get out. Like, this is no longer going to be sitting there and going, NASA's got anything to do with the fact of, like, what if they go up there and find something that they're not supposed to? Be like, hey, what's this doing up here?
I just think it's just so cool to think about, right? I mean, so you go over there and we watch these launches and we see these people in this capsule, this relatively small capsule. They're in there. It's a pretty big capsule, honestly, but I mean, it's a capsule, right?
Right.
There's 4 people in there. They go up, they go to orbit. It was super cool, right? Last year. Now, just imagine. I'm just imagining myself over there, and I'm looking at a fully stacked Starship. Big old booster, big old Starship, and I'm looking at this Starship going, there's only 4 people in there. The people in there must be going, there's so much room in this thing.
Like, this is great. This is amazing. Right? Like, I wonder how much we can sell seats for in the back.
I mean, they can go up there and they're going to go, I assume they probably go to orbit and they're going to maybe EVA out of the thing. I don't know. It's just going to be so crazy.
It's going to be nuts. But I mean, it also sets the precedent for when he says that he wants this Starship program to basically take over long haul cargo routes and go and take on that sort of suborbital role. And look, if he gets a crew actually to orbit the planet and do this, and that's a great selling point to say, look, we're ready. We're open for business to take your cargo from point A to point B, and we can do it lickety split.
Yep.
Right.
That was exactly what I was going to say, because there's also maybe you read the same thing, that they mention that the amount of cargo this thing can carry is about what a C-17 can carry. And if you can get that amount of cargo basically anywhere in an hour or so, you know, private companies are not going to be the only people interested in transporting goods anywhere in the world in an hour. You can imagine, wink, wink. You know, many military is going to be quite interested in that too. So, and we already know they've been talking about that. So,
right,
it's all super cool. The website's down below for the Polaris program. You guys can check it out.
Sure.
It's again got all the bios of all the people on there too. But yeah, what do you think, man? I mean, it's so cool.
Well, I mean, I'm still in awe, right? If you take a look at the bios, all the bios are here. It's really neat that their team is going to do it and their mission directors and how they got this going on. Now, you have to understand that, again, these people will become actual astronauts, right? They will. These are actually fully funded, non-government based astronauts. No other country, to my knowledge, has ever pulled that off before, which is nice. And the fact that it'll launch from American soil is even better. And let's not to say, hey, we're the greatest country in the world. Or no. No, it's really nice to see that we're promoting that type of ingenuity in this country, and it's capable of being done. But man, you got to also be in awe of the achievement when this happens, and you look at the fact that this is one guy. Now look, Elon pulls this off. Okay, he broaches a whole new genre of, forget world's richest man. Okay, he starts putting thumb your nose accomplishments up against humanity. Literally, like he literally starts taking over places in the history of mankind where you go, my God, this was the precipice of change to become an off-planet species. And this one guy, Elon Musk did it. Not only that, he created the first electric car company. Not only that, he created the first, internet pay system. Not only that, it's like the list goes on and on and on, right? So his fundamentals, I hope, are sound on this. And again, what an accomplishment. Just awe.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, and I'm stretching here. Believe me, I know I'm stretching, but I had a little random flashback when I was thinking about Elon the other day, and I was like, he kind of reminds me of Zefram Cochrane from Star Trek.
Okay.
The first guy that invented warp drive, and when he got into orbit and then he warp drived away and went to the towards the moon.
Right.
They got detected, I think, by the Vulcans, and that was the first contact with aliens that they ever had in history of human spaceflight. So I know, obviously, I'm crazy. I know I'm showing a little nerdism there, but we're not doing warp drives or anything. But still, nevertheless, I mean, yeah, I would agree. Whether this all works out or not, all the things he's already done with space stuff, whether it's just Falcon 9 and SpaceX, it's already still going to be in the history books. So yeah.
I wish him the best. I wish that they would get off his back a little bit about all the other things that he's doing right now and the heat that he's drawn, but you got to admire the accomplishments. And the fact that he's gotten other people enrolled in this now, that they're willing to sponsor these types of missions, and they make it profitable for some place like St. Jude's where they can take a little bit of the reward off of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't see a losing position in this, and maybe I'm naive, maybe I don't get it, but I would be shitting the bed right now if I knew that was my competition. And he's just doing this to basically say we don't need NASA, we don't need a government agency, which speaks to what Brad's asking about in chat there. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see the analog to from SpaceX to government agencies the same way I see it, like doing traditional car sales with traditional car lots, franchises where, they buy a car company or, a car lot down the street, they buy cars from Ford or whatever, but then they're cars. Right. Tesla's like, whatever, skip that. Who cares? We're making Tesla cars. You want it? Buy it. Boom. Here you go.
It's yours.
We'll just do it. Why we need another company in the middle? And a lot of dealerships hate that.
They do.
Understandably, right? That's where they make their money. I get it, but it's just funny how that, for me, that I see the analog, I see the comparison, almost the same. It's just they want to do space flight. Well, we're going to make an orbital class rocket that's reusable. Why? Because we can. Why would we not? Oh, by the way, it's going to be a whole lot cheaper. Oh, that's
it's going to be massive.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
And it's going to be the largest thing ever launched from the planet Earth before. There you go. So I don't know. Let's close it out. I'm done.
Yep. There you go. So again, a fun conversation. I always like talking about space. If you like following space stuff and aeronautics and a whole bunch of other stuff, please like, share, subscribe. We appreciate the support. And let us know your comments down below, whether it be space flight or, of course, Elon or Starship. All that's quite interesting. So let us know what you think. And
let us
we
know.
Appreciate all the support.
Thanks so much, everybody. Hey, there's one other thing, by the way. We are T-minus, I think it's the 25th is the date that I find out if we're going to get the Steam Deck on day delivery where my offer would come in. So by next Friday, I'll either have the offer sitting in my email or I won't. Number one. Number two, if you haven't been paying attention, apparently there's about 4,000 Volkswagen, Porsche, Audi, and Lamborghinis sitting in the Atlantic Ocean right now on a ship burning. You haven't paid it. You didn't know. I know because I know that because my car might be on it. That's that. So
good to know.
It's kind of funny because Matt Farr had I found out because I was reading like one of these websites this morning. Matt Farr was saying his Porsche 911 or one of the cars that he had a Carrera or something coming in, and or maybe it's a Cayman, I can't remember. And he said, "Oh, my car's out there, it's burning," and blah blah blah. And then my buddy from our VW crew sent that article in my way, and I was like, "Oh man," like this sucks. So anyhow,
there's a supply chain. It's on
there
fire.
It is on fire in the ocean. Although the greatest thing is all 22 crew members got off the boat, so they're safe.
Oh, of course, it's always good.
Okay, folks, that's all I got time for. You got any more time for anything else?
I'm good. Yeah.
Thanks for the comments, Brad. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys next week. Take care. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.
See you next
time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Show 98 in the books.
98.
Wow. Can't do that anymore. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch you real soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.